What's up, you got anime again? So next we have, let me see. What do I want to talk about next? Let's talk about, so Bleach. I remember back, the first time I heard about Bleach was when I was in 7th grade. I had this white homie, he was like a big white guy, and he was like obsessed with Bleach in 7th grade. He always talked about how he wasn't really into anime, but for some reason he was really into Bleach. And, excuse me, that was before I was into Bleach, before I knew what Bleach was. I got heavy into Bleach when I was a sophomore in high school. I got so into it, what I did is I used to go, it was one of my first mangas I ever read. Pokemon was the first one I ever read, but it was like the second one. And Inuyasha and Ranma 1/2. So what I used to do is when I was in 10th grade, 15, 16, I used to go to the library and I checked out all of the Bleach books and read them all in like 2-3 days. And then what I used to do is instead of watching the show, I would just watch like the fight scenes on YouTube when I would go to the library. So I just read the manga. So one of the first ones I read, I used to carry it around in a freaking plastic bag. Like you would literally see me at the scanning machine, beep, 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 and I'll check out every book it had and read every book. Did the same thing with Inuyasha, did the same thing with Ranma 1/2. All three of those series are like some of the first mangas I ever fully read, just in one sitting, right? And Bleach, what really made me like Bleach is after I did that, I decided to go back and watch the whole show. I had like downloaded it on my laptop a little bit later, like when I was like 19, 20, and watched the whole show all the way through. One of my favorite shows of all time. It has one of the greatest beginning arcs of any anime, period, point blank. I don't really count the stuff where it's like Ichigo is hunting demons and stuff, not that. When we get to the Rukia rescuing arc, when he first goes to the Soul Society arc, the very first time he goes, when he trains with Urahara and all of them, and then he gets strong enough to be able to go there, and he's fighting all these different Soul Reapers, and then he trains with Yarichi, and she trains him up to be faster. Like, that's like, it literally is one of the best arcs to an anime, period. It's literally 10 out of 10 writing. It's so freaking clean. Everything Ichigo does is clean, and him being so overpowered makes perfect sense. When we find out that he is a Quincy, he is a Soul Reaper, and he is also a Hollow, all in one, of course he's strong as hell. He's literally the anime avatar. Literally. That's why he's able to beat people when his spiritual pressure is so freaking high. He's a hybrid of 3 different things, and he's a human. So it's not that surprising that he's so freaking powerful. Of course, I have a list of my favorite characters. One of my favorite characters is Hatsugaya Toshiro, one of my favorite characters in anime, period, point blank. He's so cool. He reminds me of Hiei. He even kind of sounds like Hiei a little bit, but he's like a silver-haired Hiei with ice powers, which makes him really freaking cool, which was the reason why I really like him. And it's also interesting because Hiei is actually the only boy that's ever been born in his race, and he's fire, but everybody in his race is ice. So it's pretty similar. You could tell that Tite Kubo got a lot of inspiration from Yoshiro Togashi from Yu Yu Hakusho. It's pretty obvious. Everybody does. I mean, it is what it is. And, Hunter x Hunter too. A lot of shows get inspiration from that. I mean, Tower of God got inspiration from it. Naruto's Chunin exam, Hunter exams. Come on. It's even the same thing. It's in a forest. They meet a creepy kind of pedophile type dude. Hisoka, Orochimaru. Like, come on. I mean, it's like one for one kind of the same. It's kind of crazy. But I do love the genius way of how Kishimoto did it so differently that you couldn't really tell that it was like pretty much copying it. Because it's kind of different in a couple of places, but it still kind of copies it a lot. It's kind of crazy. I like Kishimoto because Naruto is literally a love letter to anime. Like, it's pretty obvious it's a love letter to anime. But yeah, Bleach, I mean, I love pretty much everything about Bleach. Of course, people will talk about plot holes and stuff like that. There really ain't no plot holes when you really think about it. The reason why he can beat everybody's ass is because he's literally a hybrid. Like, he's like the Avatar. So it's like, of course he can beat everybody's ass. Of course, I love Kenpachi. Who doesn't love Kenpachi? Yarichi is literally #1 waifu, period, point blank, dark skin, sexy thing. She's freaking delicious, and she's badass. And I love anybody who has speed powers with electricity. My favorite type of characters in anime, period, point blank. Killua, Yarichi, those are just 2 of them. I love electric characters with electric power. It just is what it is, and with speed. So it is what it is. What else? I love Rukia. Rukia is so freaking cool. One of my favorite female characters in anime history. Rukia is so freaking chill, laid back. I love how she's kind of like a big sister to Ichigo, even though everybody wants them to date. I'm like, they more like a brother sister kind of thing. She be whooping his butt sometimes, beating him up and stuff. And for some reason, I really like how she lived in his closet. I don't know what it is. It brings me nostalgia. It brings me comfort knowing that Rukia was in Ichigo's closet. Like, I don't know what it is, but that's like some of my favorite scenes in Bleach is when they're in Ichigo's bedroom. Like, especially in some of the filler where it's like all the captains are in Ichigo's room. It's freaking funny because it's like, there should not be 30 people in here. There shouldn't even be any room for all of them to be in this room. How is this even possible? Anime logic. And their spiritual pressure should be breaking the freaking house apart. But, yeah. So that's just a little bit about Bleach that I really like. But I know it's a part of the big three. I know people will be glazing the big three, but it's like I have to glaze. I have to, because Bleach is literally a part of my childhood. Like, a lot of it. Same thing with Naruto. Naruto, we're going to do a video on Naruto. Naruto might get 3 or 4 videos because I have so many mixed emotions when it comes to Naruto. I'm not going to lie. The series as a whole. But Bleach always will be fire to me. 1,000 Year Blood War is fire to me. But nothing beats the manga and the OG anime. Yeah, it's kind of derpy in some areas, but what anime isn't from back in the day? It is what it is. But I hope you guys like this video. Follow your boy, like, comment, subscribe, and y'all know where to find me.